Let's talk about it. Come on and shout it. I talk, you talk, we talk. Women talk life. It ain't no surprise. Baby, you could see if you would open up your eyes. You won't understand if you can't open up your mind. So let's stop wasting time when women talk live.
And welcome to another episode of Women's Talk Live. I'm your girl, April J.
I'm SassyScribe.
And this is Elle Boogie.
And on today's show, we are talking about the Nolan Wells story. I'm sure everyone has heard about it, and if not, you're living under a rock. But it is all over the news, and we kind of want to talk about it. But we want to talk about it as not only as parents, but as aunts of, members of our family who are male and female, because you do have some females out there. So we want to kind of bring it into that perspective. But before we get into that, I want to get into our history facts for today. So I have some interesting ones. Go ahead.
But wait a minute, because when y'all listen to this, you already have heard the news that Lady Lindsay passed away over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to say that.
Yeah. But
I'm going to give him the same thoughts and prayers that he gave the Sandy Hook kids and the people at the supermarket and the people that were killed in the church. Y'all see where I'm going? That's the thoughts and prayers.
Where's Mitch McConnell?
Mitch McConnell is what they're doing. What they're doing to me, this is just the opinions of SassyScribe and not the opinions of our subscribers, our affiliates, or subsidiaries. It's just Sassy's opinion. Mm-hmm. They're about to weekend at Bernie us because I think Mitch been gone for a couple of months. But the majority is 53 to 47 in the House. And if they lose Lindsay and Mitch, that reduces it even more. So the people in South Carolina, y'all need to stay vigilant because the governor is going to appoint somebody and then you'll have a special election.
Yeah.
Don't fuck it up.
Pretty much.
But you will because it's South Carolina.
It's South Carolina. And
it's South Carolina.
It is.
And the South won't rise again, but y'all motherfuckers can't figure it out. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let's go to our black history facts.
Yeah, that part. All right. So we're going to get into our first history fact for today. The first one is about, fingerprinting. So, before fingerprints, police basically played Guess Who with your skeleton, using the length of your ears to decide if you were who you say you were. In the late 1800s, what's called the Bertillon system measured everything from your head size to your arm span to ear length, plus eye color and scars, then filed it on a mugshot card like a very serious Dungeons and Dragons character sheet. It worked fine until the Will West fiasco, when two unrelated men named William and William West showed up at the same prison with nearly identical faces and the Bertillon measurement, and only their fingerprints could prove they weren't the same guy, which was basically the moment ear-based ID flunked the test and fingerprints over.
Ear-based. And y'all tell me these are, and we know who thought of this, the mediocre people, right?
You know what?
Who would think, come on, your ear? Everybody's ear size is different.
I can tell you this, though. If you measure from your wrist to your elbow, that's your shoe size.
What? I'm going to do that.
Exactly.
As soon as we finish this, I'm going to measure I'm going to see if it's right.
From your wrist to your elbow, the crease of your elbow is your shoe size.
But don't people have isn't our bodies like asymmetrical? Like ladies, I know we all have one breast bigger than the other.
Yes.
So I
So
think my
that's
right
why
foot is
if
a
you
little
do
bit
both,
wider than my left.
then do both your arms and see which one is bigger, and that's the shoe size you buy.
Really?
Yes. Let me tell you, that's how I know that there's a greater power. Just to create something that's so symmetrically perfect. It's amazing to me. The human body is amazing in and of itself. But yeah,
Hmm.
if you measure from here
Well,
to here,
you know what? That's a great segue.
Segway.
Because after World War One, people used X-rays to try on shoes. For a few decades after World War One, getting new shoes meant plain radioactive dress up.
Oh
Kids
my God.
and parents happily stuck their feet in X-ray boxes at the shoe store to watch their bones wiggle while the salesman checked the fit. These shoe fitting fluoroscopes, or whatever you want to call it, started
wow.
a way to examine soldiers' feet without taking off their boots, then became a marketing gimmick with three viewing windows so a child, a parent, and clerk could all admire the glowing skeleton showing. You know what it is about skeletons. Never mind the unshielded radiation. But by the 1950s, doctors were warning about burns, bone damage, and cancer risk. And in 1957, Pennsylvania finally banned the machines, leaving future generations to suffer the far milder horror of the cold metal measuring stick instead.
Wow.
Yeah,
An X-ray machine.
an X-ray machine.
I swear to God, these mediocre people, they just been killing you for years. An X-ray machine?
X-ray machine. I was like, wow, are you serious?
Ugh.
Yeah. All
And
right,
they
so
was lining up. I wear
yeah.
6.5.
Right. Oh my
Oh
gosh. All
God.
right. So
Ugh.
our last one is what the middle class met in the 1900s. 1900 America. In the 1900s, being middle class in America didn't mean avocado toast and streaming subscriptions. It meant steady pay, a decent house, and absolutely no one bragging about their Wi-Fi speed. So here's the thing. A lawyer, an architect, a banker, and a surgeon might have earned around 1,200 to 1,600 a year, roughly 47,000 and 64,000 today. So, and several times what farms and factory workers made and was enough to afford sugar at 5 cents a pound, eggs at 19 cents a dozen, coffee at 22 cents a pound, and bread at 4 cents a loaf. College was almost non existent. Fewer than 10% finished high school, and only about 1 in 50 graduated college. So the diploma was more of a golden ticket than a basic expectation. And the classic middle class setup was dad earning the paycheck, mom running the household, with the culture gold standard being a wife who didn't have to work, even though women still controlled the household budget, kids' education, and the moral temperature of the family, like an unpaid CEO in a long skirt. And just as text defines status today, those turn of the century homemakers are suddenly wrangling gas and electric appliances, running water, and ready made goods, discovering the internal truth of the middle class. Gadgets change and to do list does not.
Hmm.
Wow.
But that's why
Yeah.
transferable skills are so important. When you're a housewife, you are literally qualified to run a business. I used to tell people all the time, I ran my family like it was Ellis Enterprises. Me and my husband were the parent company, the kids were the subsidiaries. And then we ran it in terms of each person had their own interview, base it off their interests so they could succeed, so the things that they wanted to do. But hell yeah, if I can make scheduling and doctor's appointments, plan vacations for a CEO, I can run a house.
Well,
And
I
wait
was
a
a
minute, you also
CEO.
got to add it.
I was
You
a
also got to add in the kids'
CEO.
activities. You got to
Yeah.
add in the kids' activities into that,
Yeah.
as well as a transportation and logistics coordinator to get
And the
everybody to
financial
and from,
aspect.
and the
Well,
financial
CEO,
aspect.
hey,
COO,
listen. Yeah.
CFO,
I
CMO.
was all of that. Because
Mm.
I had 2 natural kids. I had 3 kids in the household. So I had to run the whole household.
She was the only adult in the
I was the
room.
only adult in the room. All right. So before we get into this story, I wanted to play a video from ABC, kind of giving an account of what was said that happened, and also what the parents are saying. So before we get into our discussion, watch this video.
Now to the family of Nolan Wells seeking transparency and closure. In an emotional new interview, his parents speaking out for the very first time about his death and the investigation. Our chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky has more.
Tonight, the anguished family of a Mississippi teen who mysteriously died while boating July 4th is demanding a thorough and transparent investigation.
We just want to know. We just want to know what happened and why our baby didn't come home.
18-year-old Nolan Wells took a boat with friends to Horn Island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Those friends told investigators Wells decided to stay behind. His body was found 2 days later.
We always taught him to, if you go with a group, you stay with a group.
Police are looking at video posted to social media that the family says shows an argument involving Wells, but the contents are unclear. His mother told ABC News his phone was left behind and his Snapchat accounts were empty.
And I was just like, that can't be. Like, I've seen Nolan whenever he snaps, like when he goes and he's having fun, like he does videos, like there was absolutely nothing.
Tonight, the sheriff's department is asking the family to turn over the phone to investigators.
We're working towards the same goal as the family. Okay. We want a thorough investigation.
Authorities believe Wells drowned Rachel and say so far there is no evidence of any foul play. But you heard his parents are skeptical and they've sent their son's body for an independent autopsy.
Yeah.
Come on, y'all. Come on. We don't all want the same things. I think
Not at all.
I think that the investigation has already been compromised, because I'm going to say it the same way I say it about the man sitting at 1600. If your ass isn't guilty, why did all of those boys immediately come home and lawyer up, scrub their social media? Mm-hmm. And if anybody in the world knows a teenager, I don't care if it's a teenager in the United States, a teenager in Europe or Asia, they are attached to the hip.
Yes.
With their cell phone.
And constantly posting.
I mean, they are all you see is the top of their heads, because they are like this. And a lot of us adults are the same way. I don't believe it. The minute I heard it, I was like, they killed that baby and they can say what the hell they want.
You know what?
And if you look at the timeline even explains what they did and how they did it.
But the one thing I think a lot of people, if this is really thorough, I think one thing I have always been taught, because, you know, I have friends who are in national security and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Whatever you put out there on social media, whatever you put out there online, it's not completely gone. Exactly. So it can be discovered. It can be uncovered. Like, I mean, simple fact as with Sandra Guthrie's mother. Like, they were able to pull something.
Savannah Guthrie.
Yeah, Savannah Guthrie. So it's like, so my thing is, why not start there? Why all of a sudden everything was scrubbed, like his mother was saying, like that's not him. So if it was scrubbed, why not go to, I'm sure they probably put it on Instagram, TikTok or whatever. Why not go to these platforms and say, hey, listen, what was deleted? Because don't tell me they can't recover.
Oh yeah, they can subpoena them to get copies of their records. They are. So my
Ben
thing goes
Trump is
back
on
to
it.
when we were young. Why you come with the person you leave with the person that you came with.
Yep.
If you have, if you're the only black person and you have a group of white friends, and those friends should understand the nature of the environment in which you're in, and they should be protective of you and not just let you leave. You don't have your cell phone. They like, oh, he talked to some girl, so we packed up and left. None of that makes sense. I've never been to an event where one of my girlfriends could be like, yeah, I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna go with him. The hell you
No.
are. Like,
No.
look, you can pick
No,
you
that
up
didn't
later from
happen.
somewhere else, but we
No,
came together, we
right,
leave together. Like,
exactly.
Yep.
there's rules of engagement in terms of friendships. I don't think that these guys did
They weren't
anything.
friends.
No, I'm saying I don't think that they did anything to try to alleviate the situation. I think they're, complicit in whatever happened. I think they have some level, because the guy that was starting the argument, the older guy, even then, like, nobody called an adult. And when you get home, you don't call the police, you don't call his family and say he's missing. You all get lawyers and you all scrub your social media. Just
All of you.
perception being what it is. You guys are guilty as fuck about what happened to
Yep.
this young man.
Right, right.
And the fact that they scrubbed, and we all know, especially if you had an iPhone, they either, what is it, the facial recognition or the
Yeah,
thumbprint. I think they killed him. They used his face or his phone to unlock his phone, go to all his social media pages,
yeah.
and delete
And
everything that they could find.
delete it. Yeah. And that's why
And
I
like you
said
said, nothing is
that is
ever
something.
gone. It's
Yeah, it's never gone, and somebody can see if something was deleted.
yeah.
I
Now,
mean,
I do want to address the level of comfortability that people of color feel being the only person of color around people of non-color, of non-pigment. That alone makes me very uncomfortable. I'm just going to say it out loud. Like, I can't see myself going into an event with all white people and me
Well,
being the only person of color. I wouldn't feel comfortable in that situation. And it reminds me of, was it Martin Luther? No, was it Muhammad Ali or Malcolm X, when he talked about going into a room of snakes, of 100 snakes, and they're like only 2 or 3 are poisonous, and you can't tell the difference, then why would you can't trust going into that room. And that's how I feel as a black person with my experience, having, been a military brat. I've traveled in different environments, different countries. I've been around different sets of people in terms of east, north, south, west. I know the evils that men do under the guise of just, it's not a color thing. I don't see color. It was this or it was that. I could never find myself in a place of trust being the only person of color around them because of what they're capable of doing. And so it really begs the question of how parents allow their children, thinking, if they surround them with white people, go to white schools, have white friends, that they have a better outcome, when they're putting them in such a detrimental position in terms of what, these families and these kids are capable of, because they circled the wagons. They don't give a fuck about that black family.
they don't. And then the fact that for them to say that they were best friends, and they had to literally, the aunt tracked his phone right to their door and they didn't want to turn the phone over. And the father ended up going there and introducing himself. So you weren't really best friends because you didn't know his parents. So the father
Yeah.
introduced himself to them saying, we need the keys to my son's vehicle. How the fuck you gonna keep my shit? How are you going to keep my son's car? And the father said he knows how that boy was. Well, I think it was a truck. And he knows how he was with that truck. Right? He never would have left it. But what happened was the boy said he didn't know where the keys were. In the meantime, one of the other boys was in the house on speakerphone talking to this chick. And the chick says, oh, I remember that where the keys are. The keys are sitting on top of the Game Boy or the Nintendo Xbox or something.
Wow.
And that's where they were. So they have all gotten together. They've all gotten their story straight. And the parents are even more guilty, because these children, these are men. These are grown. The
Yes.
same way
Thank
they
you.
adultify our boys at 17 and 18. These are fucking men. These are grown ass men who knew exactly what they were doing, and they corralled each other together. They got their story straight. The parents are in on it. So when Ben Crump got involved in it, I think he's going for a change of venue, and he's asking the judge, the investigation, everything, everybody to recuse themselves, as they should. That clip that you played up earlier, April, I don't believe that investigator at all. You're looking to absolve them white boys, not show that black man was killed. They think he drowned. Thank you, Colin Kaepernick, for the independent autopsy. And thank you, Tyler Perry, for paying for the funeral. And KL, before you joined, we were talking offline, and I said, I think Tyler Perry raising a black boy that's going to be raised in privilege, this is probably really hitting home for him. Because how many spaces is his son the only in everything? And like I said, I was the only black from kindergarten all the way up to 6th grade. And when I graduated high school in 85, it was 3 black girls and 8 black guys. I go to parties.
Growing up, driving in his neighborhood. Once he gets a license and he wants to drive his nice car that his father will probably buy him home in his very affluent neighborhood, what's that going to look like to the police, to the Karens, to the Brads that are out there that want to fuck with him because they don't feel that he belongs in the space that he's entitled to occupy? And that's the problem. People see our kids and they see us, period, as people of color in spaces that they feel we do not have the right to occupy. When we have more than one earned it, 9 times out of 10 created it, 9 times out of 10 have kept it up in terms of the status of it and the quality of it, but we don't belong there. That's why you get called on when you black while golfing, black while bird watching, black while swimming, black while bike riding.
The recent one just happened for the writer of the Emmy award winning The Bear, where the old white lady didn't like the posture of how the young black man was sitting, told the conductor on the train, and that bastard called the police, and the police arrested him. I hope he sues the old lady, the train conductor, the train company, the city, the county, and the police individually. Yes.
I didn't even hear that.
She did not like his posture. So they feel so comfortable policing us, and they're teaching their children that they can police us too. But it's a new age. It is a new age, and black people ain't having it. They really and truly are not having it. We're not going to stand for it. We are Second Amendment right people too.
Right. As parents of, as a mom of 2 girls who actually did grow up in private schools. And the private schools, like my daughter went to John Carroll. She went to another private school that was in majority rich white areas. And one thing that I always stress to both of my girls, listen, you can't go around here and do the same thing that they do.
That's it.
Because at the end of the day, I'm going to be the parent to get you from central booking or wherever they, hold you. And the parents are going to be allowed to pick them up wherever
their kids
they are. So I said,
they're going to bring their kids home.
Well,
that's what she was saying.
What I'm saying to her is that, what I'm saying to my girls is that I'm not going to be given the same privilege ever as them. So I let them know up front, you can't do what they do. And if they ask if you can come to their house, the answer is no. I said, and it's not because I'm paranoid, it's because I don't trust folks that I don't personally meet their parent. Now, one thing I was very, very adamant about, I had to meet who your parents were, where you lived, and want to know what type of household, what type of household you had. And it was only one person that, it was a couple, black couple, that I would allow my kids to go over their house. They only spend the night over there one time. And she was the same way as me. So she had 2 daughters. Her daughters would sometimes come to my house. I had one time where a white girl came to visit with my daughter. And I said to her, listen, I said to her and her parent, because her parent was there. I said to her, listen, just so we are clear, I have certain rules in my house that my daughters follow. So when your daughter crosses that threshold, she's under my house and my rules. So if you don't like those type of rules that I have for my daughter, then your daughter needs to stay right here. She can't come with me. Because that I don't feel that.
I want to address what you just said, because I think that words matter, especially in context. When we talk about we don't want our children to be in certain environments, that we have to give our children the talk, that's not a paranoid response. That's situational awareness. When white people feel like they're threatened because of posture or because somebody of color is in proximity, that is paranoia. Those are 2 different things.
Right.
We have a historical context as well as issues that have happened that we can recent, where young black people are being lynched still to this day. Like last month, they lynched a black girl. There are so many different things that make us aware that we have to tell our children, like the talk. White people never have that talk. And it always brings me back to Nas when he made the comment about when George Floyd was murdered, and he was saying how, his white friend and him were having a conversation. And he asked his white friend, he said, so what do you do when you're pulled over by the police, for driving your car? And his friend was like, I've never gotten pulled over by the police. And he said, well, what do you do if you're out with your friends and the cops come and tell you to move? And he's like, dude, the cops have never told me to go anywhere. And he's going through all of these scenarios that we go through as people of color when we engage with police officers or even the white public as a whole. And he's like, it's never happened to him. And he's like, so when I'm telling you these things, you need to understand that these things happen to us and not go off of, well, it's an anomaly. Well, what could you have been doing? Because you want to side with the fact that you think the police are there to help. And we understand the police are there to maintain a perimeter around where we can go, what we can do, what we can say, because anytime that they come into a situation where there's an altercation between a black person and a white person, they automatically feel that the white person is the victim. And we can use the video of the 2 kids, one white guy with his buddies came to start messing with a little black kid at a mall, swung on him first, was trying to beat him up. The little black kid defended himself. And when the police came, they snatched the little white kid up, sat him in a seat, and threw the little black boy on the ground and handcuffed him without knowing that he was not the aggressor, that he was actually the victim. But that preconceived mindset is what we deal with every day. And people have to understand, we're not coming at this from being paranoid. We are aware. I'm so well aware of what you're capable of doing, but you have the capacity of violence. Historically, everywhere you go, you pillage, you rape, you bludgeon, you murder, you vilify. I don't know. I cannot get past the historical context and the recent mindset of how people are and send my child into that environment unaware. So my children don't even get to necessarily have a childhood because they always have to have some sort of situational awareness because they're endangered when they go out into this world.
So yeah, I remember my cousin said she said, and once again, we had conversation 4,675,000.8 with our son. It's like, why do we have to keep having the same conversations? And like you said, it's for situational awareness. And I think, and I want to blame our generation for being so fucking caught up and removing ourselves from what our predecessors and our ancestors went through as the George Jefferson syndrome. You have moved on up and forgot who the fuck you are. You are still black. I don't give a shit if you Oprah or Tyler. They will remind you constantly that you are a nigga.
Yeah.
Constantly. They don't care about how much money you have. Didn't Oprah have a problem when the lady said she couldn't afford the Birkin bag when Oprah could have bought the fucking store?
Yeah.
She didn't see Oprah Winfrey. She saw a nigga.
You know what? It's so interesting you said that, because few years ago, I was in California at the time, and this was during I think it was like the BET Awards, and I was out at the mall with Kelly Price, and she was doing a showcase, and she wanted to buy, you know, an outfit, but she said she had an outfit. She wanted to get some shoes to go with it. Mm-hmm. So me and her are walking. You know, she has like her scarf on. She don't really have any makeup on. So we're walking through Beverly Hills Mall, and we go into the store because she sees these boots in the window. She was just like, "Oh my gosh, those boots are nice." I was like, "Oh yeah, those are nice." She's like, "I'm going to try it on." So immediately when we walk into the store, there's a white salesperson, and it was, I can't remember. No, it was two white. It was one was a white lady, another one was a black guy. So she came in and she said, "Hey, I want to see these boots, and you know, size whatever." So the guy looked at her and then looked at me and was like, well, those boots are $5,500. And she said, "I didn't ask you how much they were. I said I needed size whatever so I can try them on to see if I like them." And he just looked at her and he was just like, she said, "Is there a problem?" That
it was a black guy doing this?
No, this was a white. It was a white salesman. Wasn't a white. Okay. It was two of them, and he was like, and he just said, she was like, "Is there a problem? Like, because I'm black, I can't afford them?" And he was just like, So in the meantime, young black guy, he comes in the store, and I guess he was a salesman, and he went to lunch and whatever. So he comes in and he turned around, he said, "Kelly Price, oh my God." he's like, "Girl," he was like, "I love you all the time." He was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you." I mean, he went all, and so the white guy was like, looking, he was just like, and he said, "Do you know who this is?" And he was like looking, and she was like, so she took the boot out of the black guy's hand. I mean, out of the white. No. We were there, and she said, "You know what?" She was like, "Sweetheart, I don't want you to help me." She said, he said, "What do you want to see? What do you want to see?" And she told him, and so she tried the boot. So granted, what happened was that not only did she pay for the boots, but she gave this man a $500 tip. And she turned around and she looked at the wife. She was just like, "Let me say something to you." She said, "Whether I'm black, Mexican, white, whatever you want to call it," she said, "stop thinking that we don't know shit, we don't have shit." She said, "The next time you want to treat somebody like that," she was just like, "Here's $500, honey." She was like, "That's what you missed out on." She said, "And don't worry." She said, "I'm going to be contacting the store just to let them know what type of customer service I got."
That's right.
Yeah.
And she was just like, and he just looked at her. He couldn't say nothing. His face was red. And the black guy was looking like, because he didn't, at first he was just like, "Wait a minute. What happened?"
They did that to Prince at, I think it was a Rolls Royce dealer in Beverly Hills. And the salesman didn't know who he was, but the car had already been sold to some woman, and the woman didn't know who he was. So when she came to pick the car up, Prince was sitting in it. So they were making it seem like Prince couldn't afford it. So Prince went, and somebody recognized him, right? They called whoever, which he gave them the number to Paisley Park, but they didn't know Paisley Park. How do you not know Prince? Even though he wasn't dressed in his normal, like, purple stuff and everything, he had on like a jacket, tennis shoes, but his tennis shoes had his image on it, had his symbol on it. So in some way, shape, or form, that should have told you. But I guess he just looked like a Prince fan. I say that to say, when they They don't know black celebrities. They don't. And they don't care to know black celebrities. It's just like I said, when Oprah, I think it was it in New York or was it in, I think Oprah had two instances. One was at Elizabeth Arden, the Red Door on Fifth Avenue, that you had to have an appointment to go to and they wouldn't open up the door for Oprah. And she was Oprah at the time. And then her and Gail went overseas and they went to look in the Hermes store for the Birkins. And she pointed to one on the shelf and the lady said, "Oh, that's like XYZ." And Oprah and Gail looked at each other. You know, Gail, the hood one. Mm-hmm. Gail is the hood one. And she looked at Gail. Gail looked just like, did we ask her that? And she was like, "Come on, let's go." Oprah was like, "No, I want to see that. And then I want to see that one." And she made them pull all these like bags down. I don't know if she ended up purchasing, but if my money ain't good enough for you, I ain't spending shit in the store. Yeah.
But
not one dime.
Why do we always want to spend our money to prove to white people that we're worthy or of the same caliber? Like, you have so many black designers that we could big up and create houses for, the same way Cartier and Hermes and Balenciaga and all of these houses and so on and so forth. We have the ability to create wealth and influence and that celebrity status for our own creators, but we choose to try to validate ourselves by buying the shit that's not meant for us. I remember years ago when there was a big issue with Ralph Lauren with the polo and how he didn't make it for black people and he didn't like black people wearing his clothes because it lowered the
value. Tommy Hilfiger.
Yeah, Tommy Hilfiger, that's what it was. So I rescind to Lauren. But yeah, that whole mindset, like, why would you want to give your money? As hard as I work for my money, I needed to stay with black people for at least a little while longer. I purposely go to black stores. I try to support black businesses. I remember having a conversation with an Asian guy, and he said he would drive past 6 establishments to get to the one Asian establishment because he has to support his people. And that makes sense to me, but we're taught that we're supposed to give everything to a system that gives us nothing. And it's the mindset that they want to have us keep giving and giving and giving and buying into this rat race or this whole aesthetic that white water's wetter and white ice is colder. You know, that whole mindset when, no, first of all, we create everything any fucking way. The sewing machine that these motherfuckers are sewing their garments on.
But we have shown how powerful our money is. We have.
Yeah, but just show how powerful
and they know it.
That power.
The problem is that power. We have historical records showing that the minute we build it, they burn it. Black Wall Street. You know, it's so many sites across this country that I didn't even learn about in high school. We heard Greenwood, Rosewood, and Black Wall Street. That is it. We didn't hear about how they flooded Central Park to, you know, the black area. That we don't hear about Lake Lanier. You know what I'm saying? So all of these things that has happened in history that we have, that we built, that we created, the minute they realize they don't want us to be powerful, they're afraid of the solidarity, which is why they're doing their level best. And we as a people have finally, to a certain degree, we have opened our eyes and we're like, we're not falling for it. Y'all can burn this shit up and tear all this shit down. We ain't marching for shit. We ain't crying about shit. We staying moisturized. We staying together with each other, and we are trying slowly but surely. We are getting lockstep. I think Target was a big thing, but I think, and still, when people can't afford, because I've been in areas where there's only Target and Walmart. They have they don't have the choices that we have around here. So they only have Target and Walmart. So when they go in there are different levels. There's micro boycotting that they can do. You know what I mean? Instead of buying Vanity Fair and Sparkle, you buy Bounty. You know what I mean? And I know Bounty may be higher, but Bounty doesn't donate to the right. So you gotta think of it like that. But it's a constant. This Nolan Wells thing literally had me in tears. I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired. I'm literally, when KO, you said that a young black girl was lynched. A young brother was just lynched a couple of weeks ago. He was at a festival. He was at a festival and got lynched. How?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's always us having to have our head on a swivel, and we just want to just be y'all. We want y'all to just leave us alone. This boy should be enjoying his life and still creating Snapchats. And instead, his friends felt like, for whatever reason, they felt comfortable enough to unalive this young man and then go home and felt super comfortable explaining to their parents why. And then the parents felt extremely comfortable telling them to do what they did, covering it up. Yeah. And now his parents are going on TV.
Watching my white child go to jail and have their future ruined because they did something to a black kid.
To a black person. Right.
Black kids die every day. They kill each other. They do this. But they don't talk about the fact that all of these psychopathic, sociopathic people are not melanated. When you talk about school shooters and all of this, they not us. When you talk about people that are warmongers, serial killers, rapists, there's no such thing as black on black crime. There's proximity crime. White people kill white people. Even when you watch the news, we know as a community, if they not showing the face 9 times out of 10,
it ain't us. It ain't us.
But you know what? I hope, and which I seriously doubt, give that same energy that you gave to Carmela Anthony.
Yep.
These white folks.
Yep. And he has been recently vindicated with that damn video showing that he was defending himself. This is what I'm saying. They automatically think that Carmelo did something wrong. Just the difference in height and size was enough to let people know what was going on. But nope. Our skin is weaponized the minute we walk through the door. We get the heightened. We get They said it's three warnings that we have to give our children. But listen, as adults that go into these spaces, and KL in your industry and April in your industry, sometimes you are the only one.
That's true. Mm-hmm. I've been the only one several times.
Right. So we have that burden. We got that burden of heightened scrutiny, and then there's the fallibility of the people being colorblind, right? And then there's you have to be self-reliant. You have to be self-reliant and you have to be strong. And it's just it's tiresome. And Nolan Wells should be alive today. But it's Mississippi, and Mississippi has a history, a deep history. I will never history,
a deep history of doing, But I mean, it's my heart goes out to those parents because in all actuality, they thought their son would come back home.
Exactly.
And
let me just say, just because there had to be some level of concern. Like, how can I put this? My sister-in-law used to say that I couldn't come around when she had her white friends around, her white coworkers. Like, if she did something and everybody else was invited, she wouldn't necessarily invite me. And I'm like, why? And she says, because if they say or do anything, then you're going to go off and have something to say. And I'm like, okay, but that puts the onus on me. What the fuck are they saying or doing that's causing me to have to regulate their behavior or their mindset? I'm not just going
that you are comfortable with.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't understand that. If you're saying something that you need to be checked on, there's no hee ha ha. There's some what did you just say? And why do you feel comfortable saying that around people that you feel aren't like that particular group? Because they love saying, oh, but I don't mean you. Oh, you're different. No, I'm not different. I'm not different. And I have to wear my race on my chest and on my back under every experience to always be mindful of what I say or what I do, because I'm the angry black woman if I stand up for myself, or I'm super emotional if I feel like I'm being violated and I choose to speak or defend myself in the same manner of aggression that you're attacking me, then there's a problem. And I think the vilification of our self-awareness and being able to defend ourselves is what villainizes us in their eyes, because they don't care that we suffer. Just suffer in silence. They don't care that you're being victimized. Just be victimized in silence. Even with the drug epidemic, and now you have the Good Samaritan law where you can't see somebody overdose and not help them. When black people were dying by the hundreds, and they were being, when they OD, they get criminalized, but now all these white people are on all these synthetic drugs and all this
programs and all
heroin
this
and
shit.
everything. Yeah, so now it's my job to go save their life if I
You
see
think?
them OD. Fuck
You
no.
think? You
Fuck
think I'm?
no.
I don't care if they black, white, yellow, or green. If your ass done passed out from some shit that you decided with free will to inject into your body, safe trip. Sorry, not sorry.
Now I saw somebody and I thought that they were dead. I'm not even gonna lie. And I called the police. I pulled past. I went to, they were on one corner. I crossed the street and pulled over. And I called the police and I said, 911. I don't know if the person's alive or dead, but they're like slumped over on the steps. And they like, can you go over and see if they breathe? Hell to the no, I can't.
No.
I'm not going nowhere near them. First of all, I'm terrified. But two, you have. Yeah, girl. Nope, that's okay. I'm straight up terrified. I'm not going over there.
God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. But see, you know what? You just told me something because I didn't know there was a law about that.
It is a law. It is a law.
You can go to jail.
You can go to jail if you knowingly, if somebody say you knowingly know that they did it, and you don't call for help or anything. Yeah, you can be prosecuted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For what? What's the law?
Because
the Good Samaritan law.
The Samaritan law. Yeah, that's exactly.
Okay.
All right. So we've actually run out of time.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's fine. Yeah. So let's get into our poll from last week. Did race play a factor in the outcome of the verdict? This was the Carmelo Anthony verdict. So we have 85% think the race played a role in the verdict. So
what's up with you other people?
It's the 15. Where? Okay, y'all watch us every week. What are you watching us for? Are you spying to get what the down low is? Because I can't see how you don't think race played the factor after all the information we gave.
Yeah,
colorblind. That's that colorblind bullshit.
Yeah, but thank you for the numbers.
Thank you.
For this week's poll, as parents, how comfortable are you with your kids staying overnight with friends of another race? So we'll see.
Not at all.
Yeah. All right. So
most of my friends don't even let their kids stay over other black people's houses, let alone
white
people's houses.
That's true.
I was one of those parents that they couldn't stay over family house. So I'm very yeah.
I don't do that.
All right. So my final thought for today is friends buy you food. Best friends eat your food.
Yeah.
Fact.
What?
I like that.
And drink your liquor.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. All right, y'all. This is April J. This is Women's Talk Live with your girl, April J.
I'm your girl, SassyScribe.
And this is KL Boogie.
All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.
Women talk live.